My name is Jessica Johns, and this is my lab video for the Lab 2 pig dissection for skeletal, muscle, endocrine, and nervous system. I have my pig here, which I have already skinned, as you can see, and then my list of figures to identify. I printed out my eScience instructions, and then I just have a picture of the cutting lines on my laptop. So, to start off, the head portion of the pig is here. The next exterior figure to identify would be the neck here. And then the trunk is this portion here. And the tail is down here. This is a male pig. You can tell by the small hole just below the umbilical cord, as well as his scrotum here. So for the exterior skeletal regions, the axial consists of the skull here in the bone in his head, and then the vertebral column runs along his back. You can kind of see it there. And his thoracic cage would be his ribs and his chest here. So the appendicular skeletal region would be basically his extremities. So his humerus would be the longer bone closest to his body in his upper extremities here. His femur would be the bigger bone in his leg attaching to his trunk here. And his tibia is the shorter, thinner bone in his lower leg here. A joint capable of flexion would definitely be in his legs here. He's able to bend his hoof. And then internally, his pectoralis major is this large muscle here connecting his front leg to his chest. And the latissimus dorsi, I actually cut into it a little bit. It's this large muscle running along his backside. His deltoids are the muscles of his shoulder running in here. Can you see that? There. In here. And then his rectus abdominis are these muscles of his abdomen running vertically up and down his body here. And his transverse abdominis, you can kind of see it, it runs kind of like, I describe it like putting your hands in your pockets diagonally along his body, connecting to his leg. Then his gluteus medius is this large muscle back here, laterally running, connecting his hind leg to his rear end. So then, for the nervous system, this cover that I noticed on the spinal cord, I think was probably his meninges. That run along the spinal cord, protecting it, separating it from the muscles and other tissue. The difference between white and gray matter is that gray matter, it's duller in color, and it contains, because it doesn't have, it has very little myelin. So it contains somas, dendrites, and parts of axons of the neurons, and then the white matter has a lot of myelin compared to the gray matter, and it contains bundles of axons and tracts. So then for the endocrine system, the insulin regulates glucose by basically when you have a meal and you're elevated, your insulin becomes elevated to absorb and store and like metabolize glucose to have so your levels of blood glucose go down. And then what is unique about the glands of what's the question? What's unique about the glands of the endocrine system? So endocrine glands basically just submit their hormones directly into the bloodstream. Exocrine glands, on the other hand, have ducts that they use to secrete into the skin and into the digestive tract. So endocrine, ductless, and go straight into the bloodstream. So let's see here. I make sure I got everything. Head, neck, trunk, tail, determine the gender. got all the skull parts, humerus, femur, tibia, vertebral column, skull, thoracic cage, and then got the pectoralis major, latissimus dorsi, deltoids, rectus. Covering was the difference, and then insulin and glands. Alright, so that's my video.